Hello, 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 and happy Thursday. I'm super excited to be bringing you this special live today where Joe and I are going to talk about all about winning with vision in our stories. Yes, Joe, I'm super excited. Drop some emojis in the chat. Let us know that you're watching it. Give this video a big thumbs up so it pops it up and everybody on Facebook knows they need to check it out. A quick background, I'm a real person. I do travel full-time in a fifth wheel RV with my husband, John, and our cat, Eddie. When I get excited and talk to the camera, he thinks that I am talking to him. So don't be surprised if he pops up here. But as your co-host today, I'm just going to introduce myself real quick, and then we're going to jump into this. My name is Kathy Davis. I am a former school teacher turned plant-based lifestyle coach and mindset coach. I am a founder of Veg Inspired and the Eat More Plants Academy, and I'm a 3-time cookbook author. I help busy individuals transform their plant-based diet from stuck and struggling to an intuitive and easy way of life. We make your plant-based eating your new normal so that you can achieve your personal and professional goals. And in today's live, Joe and I are going to uncover one of the strategies that her and I both use to win in life. And my friend and fellow visionary Joe is an amazing woman, 3-time published author, coach, mentor, and more. And we really want to share about how we use vision to win, to create that dream life. So I don't want to get too far into this. I'm going to let Joe introduce herself and share with us a little bit about vision. So Joe, take it away.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me, Kathy, and for doing this. I just get so fired up. So I'm going to try and make sure I speak slowly today. I honestly, when I start talking about vision, I just because I get so fired up. And actually, that's kind of the fun part about vision and visioneering our lives is that the whole point is to get fired up. So for those who don't know me, I'm Joe Pronger Faulkner. I am a high-vibin recovered autoimmune warrior. I'm a body healing coach, a nutrition coach. I own my own business in the financial services industry as well. I'm a plant-based foodie, which I think is how Kathy and I actually connected in the first place. I'm a Caribbean dreamer. I have a vacation property in the Caribbean with my fiance, Mike. And I am also a 3-time published author. The last one was Absolute Will, which was a collaboration. And we'll get into a little bit about what I'm doing now for the next book as well. But I wanted to start with what vision is and isn't, because the more people I talk to, I find that actually some people are a little bit confused about what vision really means. So this is not about seeing ghosts in the corner of the bedroom at night, or at least this is not how we're using the word vision right now. So having a vision is about making the committed decision to do something big or significant and doing what it takes to get there. If you've had trouble setting goals or trying to decide what to decide, indecision comes from insecurities. It's decision that propels us forward, and not just like a half-assed decision, like when you think, oh, I'd like to visit Greece someday, or I'd like to have new flooring at some point. Those are kind of like random and they're in the future someday or at some point. The secret is making the committed decision with details and letting yourself feel like what it'll be like when it actually happens. Stop using the word if. This is not about if. This is when. And it's that commitment to the decision that is the secret. So when Mike and I first created our first vision board at a New Year's party on December 31st, 2015, we thought it was woo-woo. We were like, I don't understand anything about this. We'd never even heard of vision boards before. And to think that putting pictures on the wall and having those things come true was too far-fetched for our closed minds to believe until they started happening. So back in 2015, we were both in financial trouble. We were both going through stressful, expensive divorces. Money was tight. My health was circling the drain. I had 4 autoimmune diseases and I hadn't been able to work anymore. We decided, it's kind of hard to talk about sometimes because my life was just a total shit show, honestly. So we decided that in an ideal world, if dreams could come true, we would love to have a Caribbean vacation. And we let ourselves talk about how fun that would be. And within a matter of weeks of putting a Caribbean photo on that new vision board, Mike's Nana passed away and gifted him a small sum of money that we decided to use on a life experience rather than paying bills with. She would have preferred the life experience, and we didn't want to waste that gift. So off we went to Nicaragua. So for those of you who know my story, Nicaragua changed my life. That one photo on that first vision board changed everything. I added other photos as well, some about a healthy lifestyle and some to do with improved finances. And I've been able to get my health back and I got my life back. Mike and I now have a vacation home on the Caribbean side on an island off the east coast of Nicaragua. We continue to use vision boards to this day for anything and everything that we want to have happen, because why the heck wouldn't we? So many things have come true over the years. My latest vision board thing came true actually just within the last week or so. I've been wanting a new iPad for a couple of years now because the old one I had crapped out. But I actually hadn't put it on the vision board until this year. You know, sometimes you just sort of like, again, you just sort of think, oh, maybe someday I'll get a new whatever. And I thought this year, you know what, I'm going to put it on the vision board. And so we hang our vision board in the living room so that we can see it every day and you know, just keep looking at the images and visualizing what that would be like. And a few weeks ago, we saw a bank commercial of all things on TV that if you open a new bank account with this bank that we have in town, that they'll give you a new iPad. So off we went down to the bank the next day and opened the account.
That's awesome.
It is. And even a few years ago, when I had Birkenstock sandals on my vision board, a friend of mine gifted me 3 pairs of them that her mother didn't wear that were just my size. So we usually put some huge goals on the vision board, like acquiring land or building a house, as well as smaller stuff like iPads and sandals. Anything goes, really. And there aren't any rules other than you've got to put some intention and some emotion into it. So yeah, that's kind of how I got started with vision boards. So, you know, I would love to hear your story, Kathy, and I'm just so excited to continue this conversation.
Well, it's interesting because I was like you, pretty close-minded on the vision board and the vision casting and like spending time like visualizing what I want, right? Like I thought it was a little woo-woo. And the funny thing is I was living my dream life, right? And we're going back years now. I was, you know, I was teaching school. I had bought a condo. Like I was living in North Carolina. Like my life was perfect. I was dating John then, and you know, obviously he's the one because we're together still after 21 years. So it's really just when I was first introduced to vision boarding, it was like, how can I dream bigger than what I already have? And I remember somebody saying to me, it's about being grateful for what you have right now while working towards those bigger things that you want. And as my life has gone, I mean, I haven't taught school in over 10 years, almost 10 years. My life has changed dramatically. And every time I have a huge life change or even a small win, it's because I put it on my vision board. It's because I sat in the space of it coming true. And as you said, putting intention and emotions behind that. And I have so many things that I've placed on the vision in my vision and just really lived and leaned into. But one of the big things was 3.5 years ago, John and I, my husband and I, sold our house to live full time in an RV. And it was against all recommendations from all people. Like, how can you give up owning a home? That's an asset. How can you leave your jobs? Like, here we are, double income, no kids, white picket fence house, 2 cars. Like, we had the dream life. We bought basically our dream house. It had every feature we wanted. It had the main floor living, a huge kitchen, a walkout basement. The second floor had a loft and a computer room. Like, it was our dream home. And here we were, minimizing, getting rid of everything to travel the country in an RV, like 2,500 square feet to 310 square feet. And it was against all recommendations from everyone. Even our real estate agent was like, you are giving up an asset. And, you know, you have to remember that your life should be lived on your terms. And your vision is just that. It's yours. And what John and I saw for ourselves was freedom, flexibility, being able to go and see all of the amazing places in the United States without being tied down to paid time off and hoping that we could take that week's vacation and hoping that it didn't rain while we were there. And it truly changed our life. And when I realized the moment that I realized that it was my vision and my intention behind it was when we were standing in our garage sale 1 month before we were supposed to close on our house, and person after person after person said, "Oh, my parents were going to do that one day, but they never got around to it." Or, "Oh, my aunt talked about that, but she never did it." Or, "Oh, we're going to do that someday when the kids are out of school or when we retire." And that's when I really realized that the power of visualizing things and making them happen. And people will say, "Oh my gosh, well, I couldn't do that. I have a job and I have kids and I have all these reasons why you can't." But what if you visualize the reasons why you can do it? And one of the most important pieces of really kind of tapping into that vision is when you look at this thing, whether it's big or the iPad, whatever it is, whether it's this huge sell your house, minimize, move into an RV, move to the Caribbean, buy a vacation home, or you simply just want a new phone or a new iPad or just to eat healthy, right? Circumstances, situations, and events pull themselves into your life. John and I both had careers. Like we were working careers 3.5 years ago in Pittsburgh for companies. My boss wanted to promote me. He was working really, really well. And we literally walked in after accepting the offer on our house and said, "This is our plan. How can we make it work?" And I made it work with my company for about a year. And then it was just very challenging to really be doing it remotely. And so I parted ways with them, and I am now living my dream. So even the bad things, even the unfortunate things, even parting ways with my company led to more of these visions coming true. I've authored 3 cookbooks since then. I launched the Eat More Plants Academy. I'm helping hundreds of people make plant-based living their way of life, their new normal. And when you think about those in the moment decisions that you make that are aligned with your vision, those simple decisions, and you use this word too, it's the decision, it's the intention. Those decisions, those intentions can change your life and they can change the lives of people around you. And that's really how we win with vision. So, oh my gosh, I feel like I went through multiple full circles around and around and around, but truthfully it's exactly what Joe said. Lean into that decision, lean into that intention, and then just picture that life happening. Picture that thing that you see happening. So,
Absolutely. I love that so much. And you're right. Once you make that decision, things start to fall into place, right? The universe is basically here to serve us, but we've got to know what we want. And I think that's where a lot of people's hopes and dreams kind of fall off the rails. We might have a vague idea of what we want. Like maybe you had a long time ago wanted freedom, or maybe somebody kind of watching what you've done thinks, "Oh, I'd love to have the freedom too," but they don't really articulate what freedom means to them or what they really mean by that. So until we've taken a few minutes to, imagine what it would feel like to have that achievement, we're not really going to be kind of tapping into that higher vibration, that higher frequency.
well,
We
and
have, sorry.
oh, I'm sorry. I was just gonna tap onto that. Like one of the biggest obstacles I see with people is they have the dream in their heart, but they let outside influences, our outside people, influence that dream. How many times was I told, "Wow, you shouldn't sell your house. You shouldn't leave your job. Oh, you shouldn't trade in your 2 leases early and lose money on that." My gosh, it was the best decision I've ever made. And that's really where you have to look at what you want, not what other people want for you.
So true. And I think that maybe comes back to insecurity again, where you get excited about the thing that you want, and then somebody comes along and basically, like, pops your balloon, and and then you're like, oh, wah, wah, wah. Maybe that really won't work. And you start to really doubt yourself. And it's that self-doubt and those insecurities that hold us back. So it's almost like other people play into those limiting beliefs that we maybe still have, that we're trying to get over and trying to push through. But what is it really that you want for your life? And Kathy, you hit the nail on the head when you said this is each of our own visions for our own life. This is nobody else's life. Nobody else is living my life for me. Nobody else is living your life for you, Kathy, right? So it's all up to each of us. So whenever I've had the feeling inside me that I'm going to do, something come hell or high water, that's when things fall into place. Even if I haven't known how I'm going to do it, that actually doesn't matter. It's the committed decision to just do it that's going to make it happen. And you don't have to know the how. You just have to know the what and why it's so important to you. And my first book collaboration, Absolute Will, was actually one of those committed decisions that I didn't know how I was going to do it. I was scared. And I just thought, I need to help these women tell their stories. And I need to just do this book, even though I didn't know what it was going to look like. So that was what I published last year with 20 other women from 7 countries around the world. Somehow I felt that it was going to be a bestseller and be a huge hit long before I even read the other authors' stories. I would get goosebumps talking about it. I just had this feeling. I don't know if it was my commitment to just making sure it happened, or if it was like my strong emotional attachment to that outcome that made it happen. I don't know. But if you start imagining the things that you want and imagine how you'll feel, emotion plays a really critical role in visioneering or engineering our vision. And it's emotion that'll help make our dreams actually come true.
That's so true. And that's really where I think that insecurity really holds us back, because we're scared to have the emotional commitment. We're scared to really just let go and go all in. And I remember telling John, and this is funny because I'm back to the RV story, but there's so many places in my life that vision has taken a huge, been a huge role and huge catalyst for change. But I remember telling John, we will not be in Pittsburgh on November 1st. I don't care what has to happen. We are out of here before the snow. I am not living in an RV in the snow of Western Pennsylvania. And he was like, I don't know. You need to let go of dates. You need to just let it happen. And I'm like, listen, I do not see us here for the winter. We are out of here. We left Pittsburgh on October 29th.
That's awesome.
It's just the way it happened. I was like, this is what's going to happen. And I don't care. I don't care. And it all just aligned perfectly. And, when I talk about the vision with the RV, we had a cork board that sat under our TV in our living room. And on it was a picture of a 5th wheel RV and a truck. And it was stuck to a US map. And we looked at that day in and day out. I would walk past it on the way to the bathroom. I would walk past it on the way to my office. I would walk past it. It was underneath the TV when the TV was on. Like, it was all we thought about. We were all in with that decision. And we didn't know how it was going to happen. We met with our real estate agent in July of 2018. We listed our house in August of 2018. We had a garage sale in September of 2018. And on the same day we accepted an offer on the house in September of 2018, we moved into the RV on October 13th, 2018. And we left Pittsburgh on October 29th, 2018. We were hit with obstacles upon obstacles, but we just leaned in that it was going to be what we wanted. And it's been better than what we could have ever imagined. And there's so much fear in stepping out of your comfort zone to go after your vision. But when you tap into it and feel that emotion, nothing can stop you. And that's really what I love with winning with vision, and what I love about the Absolute series that you have.
Yeah, it really is something that everyone can do. Right? If we can all tap into this within ourselves. And I mean, the universe is for all of us. And this higher vibrational energy is for all of us to use. The thing is, it's not easy, or everyone would be doing it. It takes a lot of commitment, and it takes emotion, or it takes intention and a decision even to kind of work on these things, right? And to take the time. Our lives are so busy. You know, I talk to so many people that basically from the minute you wake up to the minute your head hits the pillow at the end of the day, it's crammed full of all kinds of, tasks. But are those tasks really getting you towards the life you want to be living, or are they just kind of bogging you down? So it really is all about taking some time to visioneer your life. And you can start today, even if your life isn't where you want it to be right now. You can just, take a minute, take a few minutes, take a day, and start planning from here on forward.
Take some time, turn on some quiet music with no lyrics, just quiet music in the background, grab a pen and a piece of paper, and go back to that childhood task of imagining. Imagine what that would look like. Imagine what your wildest dreams are and write them down, and don't don't ask the questions. And you were talking about the things, the characteristics that it takes. And one of the big characteristics that it takes is courage. And it's courage to admit the things that you want. It's courage to step into the things you want. And it's courage to let go of your current life to have a life that's better. And a lot of times we're scared. I mean, hello, 2,500 square feet, 2 jobs, leased cars. Like, we were living our dream. And so many things could have gone wrong with RV living. But we had the courage, and so many things have gone right. And just those little bits of courage and tenacity to follow through with our goals have led to amazing life changes that may never have happened if we were still living the status quo, white picket fence American dream.
So it's true.
Really about courage.
It really is. So I'd like to encourage everyone just to take an honest look at your life, right? That's what you and I both did, Kathy, is that we kind of assessed like where we were at. And then from there, you can decide where you want to go. So in the assessment part, though, you may be a little disappointed in where you're at, right? A lot of people are unhappy. And there is a pattern. When you start looking back on your life, you will notice a pattern if you look close enough and if you're ready to kind of like see it and feel it. They say that the pattern keeps repeating until we learn the lesson, but we actually can also control more than we think we can, because we can control our own frequency. Mm-hmm. So if you're excited and you can hardly sit still and so elated at the thought of your goal coming true, even if the tasks to get there seem like a lot or seem like they're daunting, it's actually not going to seem as hard as you think it's going to be. So, it's back to those insecurities or people trying to talk us out of stuff, right? Just decide what you want, and then decide that, hey, I'm planting my flag on this idea, and I'm just going to go do it. And the feeling of this is basically what the law of attraction is all about. So if you're feeling down and sorry for yourself and having a pity party, just be careful not to stay in that low vibe for very long. I'm not saying that, that you can't be sad or mad, because we really do need to, feel all the feels and process our emotions. But we can actually choose our emotions and choose excitement and happiness.
I love that. And, somebody once told me is when you feel the emotions of the things you don't want, now you know how to pivot and look towards the things you do want. And that's really where these audits and these, awarenesses of what you currently have or how things are can catapult you to those next phases. And like I said, it truly is about being grateful for what you have while working towards what you want. Because the moments of walking past that picture of the RV tape, thumbtacked into the map, I had to be grateful in the moments that I had. I had to be grateful that I had that job that allowed me to work remotely for, a year. I had to be grateful that I had a house that I could sell to be able to, like there were pieces of the puzzle that I needed to be grateful for in order to be able to win with this vision and really catapult myself to that goal. And, a lot of times we get stuck into all the things that are wrong, but pause for a moment and think of all the things that you do have. And, I think back, like I said, to all those people who were like, oh, I'll do it when. What if they had stopped for a minute and said, how can I make this now? What if now was simply just buying the RV that they wanted and traveling on the weekends, or buying it and maybe their kids travel for ball and they use the RV to travel just so that they can get a feel for what it's like to be in it. And I'm using the RV as an example, but it could be anything. Any way to just dip your feet in it. Just start that process. Just take that baby step toward your vision.
I love that. I've got goosebumps now just hearing you talk about that, because you're so right. It really, like, just start, just take one step and then just take another step, right? And dip your toe in the water, as they say.
Absolutely. And I love that you said to pause and really look at your life now and really start to think about what you want. And like I said, too, get a piece of paper and just write those wild dreams. Hello, who would have thought I would be traveling the country full time in an RV and thinking it's the best thing on earth? Like, literally better than sliced bread, y'all. But better than sliced bread. Like, I'm headed to Acadia National Park in a couple of months to spend several weeks exploring Maine. When would I have ever had that opportunity if I was working a 9 to 5, living in my white picket fence, only on paid time off? And that's only if my husband and I could have had the same paid time off and really been able to use that. So
yeah, I love seeing all of your pictures of all of your travels, and the life that you've set up for yourselves is exactly why I wanted you in this next book. Your story is just such a perfect fit for the theme, and I'm so excited to be doing this with you. We've known each other now for several years, and it's just been, every time I talk to you, I just enjoy your energy. I can feel it, and I'm so excited to have you jumping on board into Absolute Vision.
Absolutely. So let's talk about that a little bit. You have Absolute Will. Now you're spearheading a new collaboration called Absolute Vision. Can you tell us more about that book? And really, I am excited to be a collaborator, so it is definitely a win for me as well. But really kind of share with us the vision of the book, like what you're seeing, and tell us a little bit more about the book.
Absolutely. So Absolute Vision is going to be book number 2 in the Absolute series. The first one, Absolute Will, became an international bestseller. We hit 40 #1 spots on Amazon. It was like a crazy ride for the 21 of us that were in it. A lot of those authors had never published anything before in their lives, and then they became international bestsellers within a matter of weeks of that book coming out. So with Absolute Vision, it's a continuation, partly because these books are a fundraiser. We are using the proceeds, that 100% of the profits from these books are going towards building a house for a family in Nicaragua who doesn't have a home of their own. So it's a super cool fundraiser that you can get involved in that also gives people the opportunity to become a published author without having to do all the work to publish an entire book yourself, figure out how to get it edited, figure out who to do the cover design, figure out all those things, and then how to actually publish it into a real live book that you can have on your bookshelf, that you can give out to your friends. So the premise behind this book is really why it's called Absolute Vision, is because I wanted these stories to be about the intention behind living our best lives. This is not about kind of randomly falling into something fun in your life. This is about designing your life, visioneering it, engineering your vision, and actually, really having that dream and having that goal of what you wanted your life to look like, and then making it happen. And so the theme is called intentionally creating an extraordinary life against all odds, because we all have setbacks and hardships and all kinds of crap that we've lived through. But some people haven't figured out how to get through like the crappy stage and then propel themselves into the life that they want. They haven't figured out how to really, engineer their vision. And that's really what these stories are going to be about, is to inspire other people on how, Kathy and me, how we have lived our lives, how we've created and visioneered for ourselves. That's what this book is really about.
Ah, awesome. So we've shared a little bit of our stories. Do you have any other examples that perhaps one of our viewers has a story that would be a good fit? Do you have any other, snippets or ideas of what you could share that somebody might be like, oh, that actually happened in my life. I didn't even, because a lot of times we don't even know that we're vision casting until we look back and say, oh, yep, that's exactly what I did. So do you have any examples of maybe another type of story? Like we said, the RV, we talked about health, and a lot of it really lends to creating this new version of our life. But that could be in any aspect of life, right? Family, like, I know people who have stories about adoption or fertility, and really just visualizing that. And, are there other types of stories that might fit well in the Absolute Vision book that you can share?
Even those are great examples. Pretty much any kind of life turnaround story would fit, because there's going to be an aspect of things that weren't going right in your life, and then a point in time where you got clarity, you made some decisions, you had that intention, and you turned that ship around and you started going in a new direction. So anything from like a health turnaround story to maybe a significant weight loss story, and whether or not that was just because you wanted to lose the weight or because it actually was affecting your health. A financial turnaround story, like a rags to riches kind of story. Anything goes. If it's some kind of turnaround that you intentionally did to make sure that you live the life that you designed for yourself, that's the whole premise. So I'm really open to a lot of different ideas. I want a lot of variety in the book. The Absolute Will was only for women. Absolute Vision has men in it also. And we even have a couple. We have a husband and wife couple that are writing a chapter. So I am opening it up to men, women, couples, and the more variety, the better, as long as it has the intention and focus on creating the life that you wanted is really the kind of underlying theme that I want to make sure that all the stories have.
I love that. And I'm so excited to be a collaborator. And, one of the big things that I keep hearing is that intention about creating the life you want using intentionality and visioneering that. And one of the things that really pops out to me too is, people will often say to me, but your life wasn't bad in Pittsburgh, right? I hear that a lot. And that's fine. My life wasn't bad. I was living the American dream. Like I lived a charmed life then. But something was missing. And that was the key. Something in my life was missing. And for me, it was that freedom. It was that flexibility. And my gosh, it was the ability to live life on my terms. And that was my pivot. And that's really what we want to make sure. Like, you're not saying that you have to be like nothing is going right for you. Like, things could be going right, but something's still missing, and you want to intentionally change that ship. You want to change that direction. And that happens a lot too with people who change careers. Maybe you start a business, maybe it's, that type of a piece of the story. So awesome. So Joe, you've got us all thinking about our re-engineering of our life, our visioneering of our life. I love it. You've told us a little bit about the book. Now, if there's somebody watching, I know we've got people over on Facebook, Iona and Cassie, hello, and they're like, gosh, I have a story. I did change my life. I did use vision. I was intentional. How can they get started? How can they share their story? How can they apply to be a collaborator in the Absolute Vision book?
You can go to boondockspublishing.com and you'll see a page there that is Absolute Vision. It's got a whole big write-up about what the book is about, what the funds will be used for, what each author will get from being in the book. This is an enormous opportunity. When you get published in a real live book, it's basically like a glorified business card. You can then, and because we've got authors already from around the world, each of us are going to be like spreading this message and promoting the book to all of our networks as well. We've got authors in it from Canada, the US, like coast to coast US, from Rhode Island to Hawaii.
And those of us who travel in between.
And those who are traveling all over the place. South Africa, Bulgaria, the UK, And we do have 4 or 5 spots left to get in this.
Amazing.
So, yeah, so boondockspublishing.com and click on Absolute Vision. There's also a page, Absolute Will, that people can have a look at how that book went and, all about that as well. I've got a hair now that's like loose on my face.
Wild hair. Literally.
And there is an application down at the bottom. You can just click. It's a simple application process. I just ask people that they just send me an email that has a little bit of what your story is about. You don't have to send me your chapter. You just send me kind of a snapshot of what you would be writing about. And then once you are accepted into the book, I provide writing prompts. I make it as easy as I can. Like I said, with Absolute Will, a lot of our authors had never written anything before. And I helped them, bring out their story, bring out the most important pieces of the story, the most impactful. And we were able to, like I said, we created an international bestseller. So I really do help. I'm an author coach. I really can help draw that out. I do a lot of the editing as well. And then I also hire a professional editor. This is the easiest way to get published.
Awesome. I'm loving this. First of all, I love the whole concept, right? Like I use vision. I use vision casting. I use vision boards. I use vision note cards. Like I'm all for it. And I'm also really about engineering your life and taking those next steps and looking at what you have and looking towards where you want to go. So I love this collaboration. I love that this collaboration for this book. I love that I'm going to be a contributing author. And I just love your story and always having you on and sharing your story and your energy. And it's just so much fun. Is there any last words that you want to share with the viewers? Anything else that you want to touch on before we end this live stream and head off to the rest of our Thursday?
The main thing really is that I end up talking to a lot of people that they think that they don't have a story important enough to publish. And I honestly think that everyone has a story, and there's just there are ways to hone in on certain pieces of your story that can fit the themes of whatever collaboration you're considering joining into. I think part of it is those limiting beliefs again. We think, oh, we're not that interesting, are we? And yes, everyone really is interesting. So I encourage people, if you're watching and if you have any, like if there's any little niggling thing that's saying, oh, maybe I should take a look at this, just do it. Just go on to Boondocks Publishing, have a look at what this book is about. Know that your contribution to this is going to help fund build a house for a family in need. How cool is that, right? So this is just such an epic fundraiser and can help get you published, which can then propel your business as well. If you're promoting yourself, you're building your brand or your business in any way, this is an awesome way to do it. Awesome. I could go on forever.
Awesome. I love it. It's really about having the courage. And the funny thing is we've been sharing all these examples of me using vision. And even I questioned whether I had a big enough story. And it's really interesting because a lot of times we do second guess that. We do have those limiting beliefs, but when you really step back and look at the impact of the decisions that you've made, we all have a story. We all have something that can inspire somebody else. And, I read somewhere, on those days that you don't feel like doing it, do it anyway, because you might be the shining star for that one person that's been following you, that has that dream, that wants to do it just like you. So you all have amazing stories. Like we said, boondockspublishing.com. You can check out the Absolute Vision book collaboration and apply with your story and see how we can share your story of visioneering your life. I love it. Jo, thank you so much for coming on and sharing with me today. Absolute Vision, winning with vision. I love all of it. And I'm thrilled to be working with you and sharing this message as well. So thank you so much for coming. And we'll see you all soon. You're welcome. You're welcome. Have a great day, everybody. Bye.
Yeah.